Welcome to another episode of Power Over Pink. I am your host and survivor, Tara Cam. Today, I'm so excited to have a new beautiful warrior with me, Felicia. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you and I met face to face at the Young Survivor Coalition in Atlanta, and I had a booth and I was trying to get warriors like yourself to sign up and tell me your story. So I'm so glad that you agreed to share a little bit of your journey with me. So, first, just tell me your name and a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Felicia Mahone. I am a native of Georgia.
Hmm.
I am 45 years old. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 27, the
Mm,
same age as my mother.
okay.
I come from a long history of breast
Mm,
cancer. My mother had five daughters. Four of them were diagnosed with breast cancer,
mm.
and three of them succumbed to the disease, which one of them was my mother. My mother died when she was 29.
Oh, wow. That is so young. So,
Yes.
you definitely had the genetic factor you
Yes,
knew of.
and I've had three maternal first cousins to be diagnosed with breast cancer as well,
Mm.
and one maternal first cousin to be diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
It's connected. It's the
Yes.
same sort of hormonal imbalance thing that we're all facing. So how did you so you knew were you proactive in knowing that you had this genetic factor and so you were kind of getting imaging young?
Well,
Tell me a little bit
so
about that.
maybe a couple of years before I was diagnosed, I went through the process, the beginning process of the genetic testing, but I didn't
Mhm.
finish it. So I went to Emory. They gave me the thing to take it to get the blood, and I was supposed to send it back and everything. And I don't know why I didn't send it back. I just did.
Mm.
And then maybe like a year after that, I found a mass in, I believe it was my left breast.
Mm.
And I went and got a mammogram and they said that it wasn't anything. And then a couple of years after that, in 2007, I was doing a self exam and I found a mass in my right breast. And I wasn't insured at that time. So it was a little tricky
Mhm.
maneuvering the healthcare system and trying to find out exactly what was going on. So
Yeah.
I was going to a clinic in a town and I saw that doctor, and that doctor referred me to Southside Medical Center in Atlanta. It was
Mhm.
another like pay scale clinic for
Mhm.
uninsured people. So I went there and I met with the breast surgeon that they had on duty, and he did an exam. And when he did the exam, he felt the mass and he said, "It doesn't feel like cancer." But I was smart enough to know that cancer wasn't something that you could feel.
No, it's
But he
different for
said,
everyone.
"Yeah, even though it doesn't feel like cancer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to refer you to Grady, to their breast center, and let them take a look at it and see what they say."
Mhm.
So I went to Grady and went through a series of mammograms. Oh my God, it was maybe like
Mhm.
10
Wow.
that they did, like 10 different pictures that they did. So I knew then like something wasn't right. And so they told me to go and they were going to go ahead and work me in that same day for a biopsy. And so I went down to get the biopsy and they were really backed up. So they said, "We're going to need for you to come back tomorrow, but please come back tomorrow." And I said, "Okay." And the lady was very adamant. She was like, "No, I really need you to come back tomorrow because so many people don't come back."
Mm.
And so I said, "Okay, I'll be back tomorrow." So I went back the next day and I got the biopsy done. And so, you had to wait. I had to wait like another week before I would get the results to find out that it was
Mhm.
cancer.
Wow.
But I knew
Yeah.
just because of everyone in my family. And 2 years prior to me being diagnosed, my first cousin, we grew up together. We were best friends. She died from breast cancer. She was 25.
That is so young.
Yeah, she was 25. She was a new mother. She
Mm.
had a baby. When she had the baby, she wanted to breastfeed. And when the nurse came in to try to assist her in breastfeeding, they felt a mass in her breast. And
Wow.
so they were like, "You need to get this checked out." And I remember her calling me so vividly, like it was yesterday. She was saying, what the doctor had told her and that she needed to go and get a mammogram done and everything to see what was going on because they were suspecting that she could possibly have cancer. And I remember telling her, I was like, "Girl, you don't have cancer." Like, because her
Mhm.
mom had cancer too. I said, your mama had breast cancer, my mama had breast cancer. We're not going to get breast cancer. It's going to skip us. Like, my grandmother didn't have it. Her daughters had it. Now we're their daughters. It's not going to touch us. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be cancer. Like,
Yeah.
some type of way I made up in my mind that it was going to skip us. I was like, karma couldn't be that bad.
Mm.
Like, your mom went through it. My mom died from it. Like, we're not going to get it. Don't worry. But it was
Mhm.
cancer. Triple negative, of course.
Yeah.
We all were triple negative. So it was very aggressive. And well, I take that back. I'm assuming hers were triple negative. I don't know for sure if it was triple negative or not, because I don't have any of her records. And it wasn't something that, even though all those people died in my family of breast cancer, it still wasn't something that my family really talked about.
Right.
So it was like an unspoken rule.
Do you think it
So
was fear that kept them from talking about it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it was that kept them from talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just maybe fear was some of it, because I remember my aunt, the only one that survived other than myself, which is her mother.
Mhm.
When I went through it, she came to the hospital the day that I found out the diagnosis, and that was pretty much it. And then I remember like maybe speaking to her later down the line
Mhm.
and like trying to understand like why, because as soon as I found out, I immediately like once I was done with treatment, I became a patient navigator at Grady.
Mhm.
I started advocating for African
Mhm.
American women because, we're dying at a greater rate than
Yes.
other women from this disease. So I
Mhm.
started looking into the disparities that we face. I started speaking out. I joined every board you could think about joining. And I just couldn't understand why we still wasn't talking about it. And
Right.
so I remember her like saying, I vaguely remember her saying something to the like, she didn't wanna think about it because it was too
Mhm.
much, like, she lost her daughter from it. So,
Yeah.
like, why breast cancer was something to me that I wanted to fight and
Mhm.
advocate for other people and just shout from the rooftop and let everybody know that I was a survivor and I
Mhm.
was happy to be alive, and, I just wanted everybody to know. I wanted to make sure that people knew to go out and to
Mhm.
make sure they were doing their self exams. And then that if something didn't seem right, to speak up, to keep going,
Yeah.
to keep going. Don't let somebody tell you this. But to her, it wasn't that. It was
Yeah.
something that made her think about her daughter. It was something that made her think about what happened to her and what she went through. So I
Mhm.
understood then that everybody experience is different.
Oh, for
And
sure.
sometimes just because you're open, it doesn't mean that someone else is as open.
Mhm.
It also made me realize that as I was fighting and continue to fight, because it's an ongoing thing, it never stops, it
Mhm.
never ends. Like once you have cancer and you've taken chemo or any type of treatment,
Mhm.
like it follows you for the rest of your life. It never
Yes.
stops.
Yeah.
And so I just doing the work with Grady and with the other patients, them having the choice of if they don't want to do chemo, it's okay.
Mhm.
Even though it's not what I would recommend, it's not what I would choose. Being able to accept people for where they are
Mhm.
in their journey and
Yeah.
being okay with it. That if they didn't want someone to know that they were going through this, that that was their right to deal with it
Mhm.
the way that they wanted to. I couldn't understand that before
Mhm.
until I was diagnosed. And so like some people, like one of my really close friends was diagnosed with breast cancer after I was diagnosed. And I
Oh.
had to find out from someone else. And I was
Mhm.
just like, I mean, I just talked to you and you didn't say anything. But I still understood where she was and she didn't want
Mhm.
people to know because sometimes I remember telling people when I had was diagnosed with breast cancer, the look of shame that was on their face
Mm.
or the look of despair
Oh,
and of
yeah.
grief. And it's like a death sentence that
Mhm.
you're going to die. So I can understand why some people choose to fall back
Mhm.
and not want to be as open and not want to share because of the reaction that you get from other people. But
100%.
right, when I was diagnosed, so I'm a very spiritual person and
Mhm.
I'm into the church. So the Lord, like the Holy Spirit spoke to me and told me that you're going to be healed.
Mm.
Like, don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. So I took that attitude from the moment that I was diagnosed of instead of why me, why not me? So
Right.
when I went to church, like after the diagnosis, and my family came, and like in our church, you could go up before the church if you wanted prayer. So I went up and I let the church know, that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. But my prayer wasn't for me, it was for my family. I
Oh,
asked
wow.
them to pray for them, to give
Mhm,
them strength, to
mhm,
allow them to understand however I choose to deal with what I'm going through, to support me in any way that they could. I didn't ask for my church or my pastor to pray for me. I said, please pray for my family because they need you, because I'm okay, because I believe what God has told me. I believe that I'm going to be healed. I believe
mhm.
that in my family, cancer had been a death sentence, but it stops with me. And I'm not going to die. I'm going to live. And I just took on that attitude. And my journey was not easy at all.
Tell me a little bit about your treatments. What did you have to do for triple negative? I know it's the
So,
big one, the big
yes.
guns.
So the only thing back then, because that was in 2007, things have
Mhm,
advanced since last year. I mean, that's how
mhm,
much things advance in this cancer industry. But my course of treatment was surgery. So I got a bilateral mastectomy with the
mhm.
tram reconstruction done. Um, and then it was chemo. And the chemo wasn't necessarily to fight the cancer, it was just in case a
Yeah.
cancer cell, because when they did the surgery, they removed all of my cancer
Mhm.
and it didn't spread to any of my lymph nodes. It
Wonderful news.
was stage 2A just because it was a grade 3 tumor, the size of
Yeah.
the tumor. And I remember my doctor when I woke up from surgery and him saying that, all the cancer had been removed and it was a very large tumor. It was a grade 3 tumor, and but you didn't have anything spread to your lymph nodes, no lymph node involvement. And he was like,
Mm.
I can't believe that. Like we thought that you, and I just said, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was covered and I was
Yeah.
going to be okay. But when I was in the hospital, the surgery was like a 15-hour surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, it was long. And then I was in recovery for maybe like another 5 or 6 hours because I couldn't wake up. I have a hard time with anesthesia.
I do too.
And so I was there, they were trying to wake me up. I remember being there and the nurse would come in and was like, she's still asleep. And then I would hear them and then I would just close my eyes and go back to sleep. So I went back to surgery maybe around 6:30 in the morning and I came to my room maybe about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how long it took. But
That's
when I was in the hospital, like one day, I missed a whole day. I slept the entire day. I've never felt so much pain in my life. I had the on cue ball that was morphine going directly into my incision, and that
mm.
wasn't enough.
Wow.
Was a humbling experience
Mhm.
because when I was also there, I started my cycle, and the surgery that I had, I couldn't even wipe my own behind, and I'm 27 years old.
Mm.
I've always been self sufficient, never needing pretty much anyone to do anything.
Right.
Because when my mother died from breast cancer, I was 10 years old.
Mhm.
And the day that she died, I made up in my mind that I would never need anyone else. That she was my rock, she was my everything, and she was the only person that I felt like that I had that would always be there no matter what,
Mhm.
and was like had to take care of me because she was my mother. No one else had to do that. So at 10, I built up just this attitude that not to ask anybody for anything. That if
Yeah.
I couldn't do it myself or I couldn't find it, then I would just do without it.
Mhm.
So to be sitting there in that hospital room and having to go to the restroom and I literally could not. My hand could not reach my behind. And I had a tech. She was a younger tech that was at the hospital. And I don't know if you know anything about Grady, but it's a hospital that are for people who are uninsured, it's a public hospital. And so the nurses and stuff there, they've gotten a lot better now, but they weren't very nice. And
Mhm.
so she went in the restroom to assist me and she was so mean.
Mhm.
Like I was bothering her. And I remember crying and I was like, do you think that I just got a boob job and a tummy tuck? Because you get a
Right.
tummy tuck. I said, do you think that because I still had my breasts. They just took the tissue and reconstructed them. I said, do you think I just got a boob job and a tummy tuck? I said, no, I had breast cancer. Like I'm not doing this because it's something I wanted to do. I'm doing
Mhm.
this because it's something I had to do. And the look on her face was just like, I don't care. And then one of the nurses that was assisting me to get out of the bed, she was picking me up. And my family was there. My sister was there. And she dropped me.
Oh, no.
I screamed. And
Yeah.
my sister was like, "Get the F out. Like, we don't need you. We have this. You dropped her." She was like, "No, no, no, no. I didn't drop her. I didn't drop her." She was like, "Yes, you did. You just dropped her." And one day, one whole day, I slept and I woke up and I was so confused because I was thinking it was Tuesday and it was like Thursday. And
Mm,
then my heart rate was elevated very high.
mhm.
And the plastic surgeon, he came in and he wanted to talk to me. And he said, "Look, you're dying."
What?
Yeah, he said, "You're dying." He said, and he used choice words. He was like, "I don't care. Like, your family is coddling you, and we worked too hard. Like, we removed the cancer. The cancer is not killing you, but you're killing yourself because you refuse to get out of the bed." Because I wouldn't get out of the bed. I
Mhm.
was like, "I'm in too much pain. I'm not moving." And I remember looking at my sister, and I was just like, I see how people want to die. Just let
Right.
me die. Like,
Mhm.
I can't take this. Like, leave me alone. I don't want to get up. I don't want to walk down the hallway because it was like, you're going to get a blood clot if you don't get up and you don't move. They wanted me to use the little machine that,
Mhm.
you breathe in. And I was like, that hurts. I'm not doing that. I was like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to lay here. Leave me alone. And so he came in and he was cursing because he was like, no, you need to hear this. He was like, you need to get your A up like now. This is crazy. He was like, you had cancer and you beat it, but you're going to die because you don't want to get out of the bed because it's too hard for you because you're in pain. Get
Mhm.
over it. And I was like, who are you talking to?
Right.
But you can't talk to me like that. He was like, I absolutely can. And I just did. And
Wow.
he was like, you need to get angry so you can move. And I remember being so upset, so mad.
Mm.
And I got
Did
up.
it get you
Worked.
moving?
It worked. It worked. I had to go downstairs and get a CT done to make sure I didn't have blood clot. And
Yeah.
then I came back upstairs and I walked the hallways with my sister so I could go home. But
Wow.
I needed to hear that.
Yeah. That thank God
Because,
for mean doctors.
right. Because I was dying,
Yeah.
literally. Like I
Yeah.
would not move. My heart rate was elevated very high. And then I heard them talking and saying these things. And I was like, you know what, whatever.
Mhm.
But that began the fight. It
Yeah.
began the fight. And it has been a journey. It has been a journey. When I got out of the hospital, my family wanted me to go stay with one of my first cousins, and I didn't want to. I wanted to go home.
Mhm.
I was more comfortable at home. It was closer to my friends. I mean, and I'm like, I had cancer. You guys didn't have cancer. So if you're going to help me, you're going to take care of me, meet me where I am, or leave
Mhm.
me alone. And so they left me alone.
Okay.
And so I went through the journey. I didn't have the support that I thought that I would have. Just given my family's history of breast cancer. Like I remember when my cousin was going through it and I would go up there sometimes with her and sit with her. And then like I remember being there and she's opened up cards from the church and like money is flowing out of it.
Mm.
My family would take care of the bills for her mother to make sure, they didn't have to worry about anything. But when I went through it, I was on my own, literally. There were times I was in the hospital and no one was there. When I got the blood transfusion, the nurse had to sit with me to make sure I didn't have an allergic reaction because there was no one else to sit with me. I had a heart attack when I was taking chemo and I was there alone.
Really? Tell me about
So
that. Tell me, why did you have a heart attack?
I think it came from the chemo.
Mhm.
I was there and then you know how they do the blood work and they said the enzymes
Mhm.
in my heart was high. And so they said that I had a mild heart attack and I had a lot of
Mm.
complications when I was
Yeah.
taking chemo. Like after one treatment, I just started bleeding from my rectum, like
Mm.
really bad, like bad. And so I
Right.
had to go and get a bunch of x-rays and stuff done to make sure everything was okay. And, the first thing that goes through your mind, oh my God, the cancer has spread,
Right.
because you don't know. And
Mhm.
so I was there and I was alone in the
Mhm.
hospital. I'm 27 and I'm like, this is crazy. So I remember after I had the mild heart attack, and then they told me that I had pericarditis, that the lining of my heart was rubbing against. I talked to a friend of mine that I met through American Cancer Society. They had this thing like a peer partner thing where people who have similar diagnoses would come, and she came and talked to me and we became friends. And
Mm.
I was calling her and I was just like, I don't understand it. Like, I'm by myself and,
Mhm.
I don't think I should be.
Right.
If my mother was alive, she would be here, but this is horrible. Like, and
Mhm.
she said, maybe God is trying to show you that at the end of the day that you can't depend on anyone but him. And he's trying to show you
Yeah.
that you need him. And you need to pull from that. And I said, you know what? You're right. So when I was laying in the bed, I made up in my mind the feeling that I was feeling. I didn't want any other woman that was going through what I was going through to feel that way.
Yeah.
So I became a lay navigator at Grady.
Nice.
And so I would go to the hospital with my patients. I would call them and check on them and
Mhm.
take them things that they needed, take them to the store, buy their medicine for them if they needed it.
Mm.
Just be an extra person there. I remember one of my patients, and I had a lot of young patients too. That's why they recruited me because everyone else was older. Were
Right.
the lay navigators. I was the only young navigator, and they were seeing a lot of young patients being
Mhm.
diagnosed with breast cancer. And she had 3 daughters, and her mom was taking care of the 3 daughters, and she couldn't be there, and she was so upset, and she just said, "Thank you for being
Mhm.
there for my child because I would be there if I could, but somebody have to take care of these babies," because she had really small kids. And I
Yeah.
said, "No problem. This is why I do what I do, to
Mhm.
make sure, that no one has to fight this journey alone because no one
Yeah.
should have to, like, it's cra."
Nobody should have to. I'm so sorry that you experienced that, but then at the same time, it has pushed you to be an advocate for those who
Yes,
don't
like,
have anybody.
I'm not upset about it. So
Yeah.
I not mad at my family because it
Mhm.
really made me better and not bitter. I just used it, to turn things around. I just I tell people, like people are asking me, like, how is things going? How are you? I say, well, sometimes we ask God for flowers and he gives us rain. And I think it's just your perspective in
Yeah.
life. Things are going to happen.
Mhm.
But, I don't believe that God allows pain without purpose.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything doesn't have an explanation, but it happens for a reason. And sometimes I realize it's really not up to me to find out exactly what the reason is,
Mhm.
but to just be able to maneuver and go through it with a positive attitude. And I do believe that the reason why I am still here today and I'm able to continue to fight is because of my attitude and because
Yeah.
of my outlook. Just making sure that things, not looking at the glass,
Mhm.
half empty, but
Mhm.
it's half full, So I think perspective is everything.
Mindset, perspective, that's the only way. You've gotta have that will to wanna live, and, that doctor coming in and saying that probably felt really hateful and hurtful in the moment, but it was a hard truth that pushed you,
It did. I was
so
angry.
and sometimes anger spurs us. I mean, that's truly not to go into my story at all, but that's what started me in my own journey doing this channel because I had so much anger from what I experienced through the system and the lack of education and preparation. So that anger, I had two choices to make me bitter or to make me use it for good. And so that's kind of why I started doing what I was doing because I knew that each of us have had a story to tell and an experience like your own. So tell me, with you being uninsured, did you look into like nonprofits to help you cover cost?
So once I went to Grady,
Mhm.
I went downstairs and they have in Georgia this thing called Women's Health Medicaid.
Mhm.
So it's for people who are diagnosed with breast cancer. And basically it's Medicaid, but they pay for
Okay.
the treatment. Um,
Okay. I've not
I
heard of
think
that. That's nice.
Yeah, they still have it. I'm not sure what they call it now, but back then it was called the Women's Health Medicaid if you're
Mhm.
diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I qualified for it and I was able to use it to be able to finish the treatment and everything. But I
Okay.
mean, it was like trying to find the right doctor. So I went to Grady and I had an amazing team. Dr. Bumpers, he was the surgeon, and then who was helping him, she
Mhm.
was trying to decide if this is what she wanted to do, if she wanted to be a breast surgeon. But her name is Dr. April Spencer. She was
Mm.
Dr. Speed back then, and now we're like really good friends.
That's
She was
amazing.
young and she said that I was her deciding factor in
Really?
choosing this. Yes, because she was on the fence. She didn't know. But she's amazing. Like she
Mm.
goes all around the country speaking and helping. And so I was there and because I was gonna move because I knew Grady. My mom went to Grady.
Yeah.
And I really didn't like her experience and I was 10. And Grady is just known for not having nice people to work there.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I didn't want to deal with that. So I went there because the Lord told me that these are the surgeons that I chose for you.
Mm.
And if you move now and go somewhere else, your outcome might be different.
Yeah.
I listened to him and I stayed. But when I had to do chemo, I left. I went to Northside because I
Mhm.
couldn't imagine waiting 6 hours to be seen, to stay there another 8 hours to do a treatment.
No.
I just couldn't do that. And that's what the women that go there, that's what they face. Like my patients
Mhm.
that I had, they would be there for 3, 4, 5 hours waiting to be seen.
Wow.
And then you have to be hooked up to that machine, for another, I mean, your treatment could last. When I was taking my treatments, I would be there 8 hours.
Yeah, it's very slow.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. So, and I wanted a different view.
Mhm.
I just wanted to feel different. I didn't wanna be treated differently because I had Medicaid. I didn't wanna
Right.
be made to feel like I wasn't important because of my financial situation, and I wanted to be comfortable. So, I went there, and it was a very good experience.
I think I think that's a powerful statement because I think you may assume that because someone else has insurance, they're being treated differently or
Mhm.
better, but they're not.
No, and I
They're
found
not.
that out when I started back working and got insurance. I was like, "So you guys are just assholes, period."
Yeah.
What's the matter? Like, I should have kept Medicaid because I
I
didn't have to pay
mean,
for it, it was free, and I thought that, that they look at you differently
yeah.
but no, they don't. They
They're just
don't. The difference is there.
overworked and understaffed, and there's just so many patients, and there's just not enough people to help, and it's just the medical industry. I mean, it's an industry, and it's overran with patients, and there's just not enough. So I could see how you would think that you're going to get
Right.
treated better, but honestly, it sounds like you had the best team where you were at, and that God provided with all things. And
They did.
I'm glad you had a better experience, at
Mhm.
least with the chemo.
Yeah, I
Um,
did, and then, I had my oncologist there, he was an older guy, I don't know, he could have been like 80 or 90 or something. And we were just bumping heads because I had a lot of complications and everybody that I looked at in the waiting area were like 60, 70. I was
yeah.
the only young person there.
Mhm.
So like after I took chemo the first time, I don't know if you took Neulasta,
I
that
did
shot.
that stuff's the devil.
Okay, so I took that, right? And I didn't really need it.
Yeah.
But they give it to you because your cells are gonna be low. So they
Mhm.
were just they were growing too rapidly. And I was in so much pain.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't take it. Every bone in my body, it felt like somebody was just taking some needles and just sticking me all over my body. And
Yeah.
so I couldn't take it. So I said, I need to go to the hospital. So
Mhm.
I drove myself to the hospital. And I got to the hospital and they gave me Dilaudid, they gave me morphine, and they was like, "We don't have anything stronger. Like, we've given you everything. Like, we don't know what to tell you. We guess
Yeah.
this is the shot, and you just
Yeah.
have to deal with it." And I was like, "I cannot deal with this. Like,
No.
this is what you guys are telling people to do?" And so I called him, and I'm like, telling him. And then like he prescribed me, I think it was Ultram. And then I had an allergic reaction to Ultram. And so he was like, oh my God. So then when I went to, after I had my second dose of chemo, that's when I was bleeding from my rectum. So I had to call him and I told him, he was like, you know what did he say? Like in 37 or 47 years of practicing medicine, I've never had a patient to have so many problems from chemo. And I said, in 37 years of practicing medicine, have you ever had a 27-year-old patient
Right.
that you treated with
Right.
breast cancer? And he was like, no, you're my first. I said, my point exactly. So needless to say, after I was done with chemo, I left him.
Yeah. Did
I
you write him a
just left
Dear John letter?
I just left. And then I went to Piedmont and I was like, okay, let me see how Piedmont is. And I had a really young doctor and he referred me to a gynecologic oncologist. And so I went in there, I saw this man. This was a handsome man. I mean, he was, it was like something and bald head, very nice looking. I was like, oh, you a doctor? You my doctor? Oh, okay. So we were talking about the genetic testing, and I got the genetic testing done through people, and I found out that I was BRCA1 positive.
Yeah.
And so he said, so the next thing with this is ovarian cancer.
Mm.
Like, you're probably 90% going to get ovarian cancer. And I was like, huh? He was like, yeah. He was like, so I would tell you to get your ovaries removed. And we would normally do it like 10 years from the first person that when they were diagnosed, 10 years sooner, we would say to start the screening and to start the preparation, everything. And he was like, but I mean, everybody in your family, like the first person to be diagnosed with breast cancer in your family was like 21. So, I mean,
Mm.
like, I would tell you right now that you need to get your ovaries removed. And I was like,
Mm.
by this time I had a birthday because my birthday was in January. I was 28, and I said, I'm 28. And he was like, I know, but I mean, if you would ask me what I would do, I would get them removed immediately because he said, I can't tell you like everybody else in your family has died except for your one aunt, but she's already had a hysterectomy. So I can't tell you that I don't have anybody to study in your family since you guys have the breast cancer so young. I can't tell you that you have another 5 or 10 years before you get ovarian cancer. And he said,
Mhm.
if you get ovarian cancer, you're going to die. Like,
Hmm.
you don't have good screening for it. So once we find out about it, it's already stage 3 and
Right.
you're going to die. I'm telling you, like, he was like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I would tell you to go ahead and get it done. And so I was talking and he said, but I mean, there's options. So he said, I will remove your ovaries, but you can keep your uterus. So you can carry a baby. And I'm thinking, oh, that sounds wonderful. Okay, cool. And so I was like, what about harvesting my eggs? And he was like, well, I mean, your cancer was triple negative, but we don't recommend, when I talked to my oncologist, he said, well, I wouldn't recommend that you do anything with hormones right now because you had breast cancer. He was like,
Yeah.
I know it was triple negative, but I don't want to try to push anything. I'm afraid. He was like, no, you can't even think about having a baby till at least 5 years from now.
Oh.
So on one hand, I have him telling me, okay, if you want to harvest some eggs and stuff, you better wait at least 5 years. And then I have this one over here, Dr. McDreamy, telling me that you need to go ahead and get it done as soon as possible because I don't know when
Mhm.
you'll get ovarian cancer. I'm telling you, you're going to get ovarian cancer.
Wow.
And if you do, you're going to die. So you need to get it done. So I talked to my significant other and I asked him, I said, I want children. I've
Mhm.
always wanted kids. Like, I want to be a mother. That's something I've
Mhm.
always wanted to do. I mean, like, I think that's why women are here to
Yeah.
have babies. So I want to have a baby. And I said, this is a decision. I said, are we going to be together? I mean, we were young. And he said, yeah, we're going to spend the rest of our life together. So I said, okay,
Mhm.
cool. I said, so I don't want to make this decision on my own because it affects you too. If you tell me not to do it, I won't do it. We'll just try and we'll just keep. And he said, if I have to choose between having you and having a baby, I'm going to choose you.
Mm.
I don't think that we should play with this or try to wait and see. I think you should do it because if he said that you might die, because he went with me too to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was very adamant that he didn't know when, but he was sure that it would happen. And I mean, it makes no sense for you to have a baby and then you're not going to be here to raise the baby. And you know how you felt losing your mom. And then on the other end, the Dr. McDreamy also said, well, it's a 50 that you're going to pass this gene on to your baby. So you might not even want to harvest your eggs anyway, because it's a 50-50 chance. And he said, so, I mean, would you really want your child to go through what you went through?
Mm.
So I was like, I mean, God, do I have a choice at this point? I mean, like, you're scaring me. And I felt like out of all of the things that I've done, and I've been through a lot, okay?
Yeah.
Like losing my mom. And then, like, before I had breast cancer, I went through 2 rapes and a home invasion.
Oh God.
I've been through a lot. But getting my ovaries removed, I felt like I was rushed. I
Yeah.
didn't do the research. He scared me. And it was a very hasty decision that I made.
Mhm.
And if I could go back, I would not have done it. That is the only thing that I regret.
Yeah.
that I've done with this cancer journey is getting my ovaries removed. I feel like I should have just waited it out and I should have just tried to see what might
Tell
happen.
me more about that. Tell me what you have found now, looking back. What research have you found, like, that would have made you make a different decision?
Really nothing but just my heart because what I've been through. Because now I'm 45 and I still don't have kids.
Right.
And then the guy that I was with, I mean, we broke up. And
Right.
so we're back together now, but we broke up. And while we were apart for those 6 years, he had a child with someone else.
Mm,
And so now he has a child and I still don't have a child.
yeah.
And and then maybe like a couple of years ago, I ended up having really bad endometriosis. And that the doctor was saying that it was turning to endometrial cancer. So I had to get a complete hysterectomy.
Wow.
And then once he said about, you can still carry a baby. Do you know how expensive that is?
Oh gosh, I
To
can only
do in
imagine.
vitro, and I tried. I did my research, okay?
Mhm.
So that's the thing. When you said do your research, yeah, I
Mhm.
did my research on that, and I found out I couldn't afford it. It was too expensive.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do the things that the doctor told me. You still can have a baby. No, I couldn't
No.
because it was too expensive. So I
Mhm.
couldn't do the in vitro because I couldn't afford it. And nobody is just giving people, I don't care if you had breast cancer or whatever. They had some place I researched that will give you like maybe like $33,000 or something. But I'm like, that's not even putting a dent in what it costs.
Right.
So yeah,
That
that
is a
was
harsh, harsh thing to face at such a young age, to make that decision and not know what to do or what the outcome would be. I mean, I think anybody would have made the same decision that you did. But I'm glad that you're talking about that aspect because there are so many women facing that,
yes,
and they
I
and
don't
they do feel
know.
rushed.
Yeah, it was rushed. It was rushed. It was life or death,
Yeah.
literally. And
Yeah.
that's what I was being told. And it was like,
Honestly, in my personal opinion, and this is just me off cuff, but I wish what was happening was with women who are of childbearing age, who have not had children. The minute they find out they have breast cancer, they should ask, "Do you want to harvest your healthy eggs before
yes,
chemo?"
yes.
Like, that should be number one,
It should.
because
And there
then
should be some type of assistance for that.
yes, there has to be, because there's so many women like you that's you feel robbed. You've never, it was taken from you. Where if that was okay, you're how old? Do you have children? Do you want children? And like,
Right,
okay, this is a
right,
battle that you're about to go
right.
into, and your body's not going to be able to after, because even after you go through chemo, like harvesting the eggs at that point, how much damage has been done to
Right,
them from the
right.
medicine. So just something I've been chewing on, like that should be something that the doctors do consider when dealing with so many young women like yourself.
Yes, they should. And they don't.
They
I
don't.
don't think they really consider anything to do with young people because just
Mm,
taking chemo at
yeah,
27, okay?
right.
And now I'm 45. So I have diabetes
Mhm.
and I did my research. Chemo can cause diabetes. I
Yep.
have diabetes. That was no, I was on like three different insulins.
Hmm.
I started with the medication first, then the insulin, and it wasn't working. So finally, I'm on Ozempic, and
Mhm.
that has been the only thing that has
To
helped. Is the Ozempic. But then I have degenerative arthritis in my knees, in my
mm.
hip, in my spine. Chemo, just still the brain fog
Mhm.
from chemo. Chemo brain, that's real.
Oh, it's real.
Just the long-term side effects because no one has really studied what happens to someone who
Mhm.
is diagnosed with breast cancer at a very young age and lives, I'm 18 years in October.
Woohoo.
18 years after taking chemo.
Yeah,
What does that do to someone's body?
yeah. Because everything, all the research is based on 5 years,
Yeah.
and that's it. I mean, all the research.
Yeah. So I don't know. They just have to do something better
Yeah.
because it's always like, so I've been having a lot of issues with my stomach and just
Mhm.
different things. So my back, my spine, I've been having a
Mhm.
lot of issues. So I've been getting these injections and stuff. And so they're not working.
Mm.
So I go and I see the pain doctor. And now pain doctors, they want to do all these procedures. They don't want to give you medication. Okay. So I
Right.
said, whatever. So they did an epidural. That didn't work. Didn't phase me. They did some more injections and she was like, well, you should have gotten some relief.
Mm.
So I don't know. Maybe you need to go talk to your primary care doctor to see. Because didn't you say you were a breast cancer survivor? And I was like, yeah. So I mean, it could be your cancer is back. And I was like, oh, okay. So I
Just
said,
throw
well,
that
then,
out there.
I said, so then order a PET scan.
Right.
Oh, I can't order a PET scan. What do you mean you can't order a PET scan?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. So she sent me to my primary care physician. I told my primary care physician everything that was said. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that because I highly doubt that it's related to your cancer. But what I am going to tell you is go see your oncologist and let your
Mhm.
oncologist make that call. So I go see my oncologist and I'm like, look, I've had all of these injections. Nothing
Mhm.
is working. My back is killing me. So they seem to think that I need a PET scan. And she said, well, what do you want? Do you, she said, it's 18 years out. I highly doubt it, but I want you to feel comfortable and
Yeah.
I want you to be okay because you've had breast cancer. So it's always in the back of your mind that it could come back. So what do you think? And I said, give me the PET scan so I can just know. Like, if
Yeah.
anything lights up anywhere that it might be somewhere else that I don't even know, at least I'll have that peace of mind. Like, y'all don't have to pay for it. Just
Right.
give me the PET scan. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just life after cancer is so different because
Mhm.
doctors, it's like if you get a scan done or something and there's no cancer, it's like you don't have cancer. Just deal with it. Be okay.
Right.
They want you to be grateful, which I am grateful. And I say that all the time. I am grateful. But to me, my quality of life is more important than my quantity of life. I
Mhm.
mean, it makes no sense for me to be sitting up here like I'm a 90-year-old lady in a
Mhm.
45-year-old body if I can't enjoy simple things in life because I'm in so much pain. And
Yeah.
so my new normal is that I am always in pain.
Mhm.
I can't remember since I've been diagnosed with breast cancer a day that I have not been in pain.
Mm.
If I go a day and I'm not in pain, it's probably because I'm dead. Seriously. Because I
Yeah.
can't remember. Like it is, and it's like I don't talk about it.
Mhm.
I still have to work because I have
Mhm.
to eat.
Right.
So I still have to do things. I still have to take care of everyone because, as women, that's what they expect for
Mhm.
us to just continue moving, continue going. I don't say anything. So, like, no one even knows that I am in pain until
Mhm.
it's one of those days where it's just so bad
Mhm.
that I just have to take a break and get in bed and just take something and just, or go to the hospital and get something because it's just too much.
Yeah.
Because, we've just been trained, like I say all the time, like when I was speaking on the disparities that African American women face with breast cancer.
Mhm.
We feel like we're in a catch 22. Like we die so others can live because that's been branded in us. Is that no matter what, you keep moving, you keep
Mhm.
going. You have a family. People are depending on you. Like crying is a sign of weakness. You don't cry. You don't show that, you need some help. You don't ask for help. You don't
Mhm.
take mental days. You don't take care of yourself. Like you take care of other people first. You put
Mhm.
everyone before you. And so that is something that has been embedded in us
Yeah.
that we just do, that we've always known to do. And it goes back, I know people hate to reference slavery, but it goes back to that when that's
Mhm.
how we were brought here to do. That's what we were here for,
Right.
to, neglect our own children to make sure we feed someone else's children. And that
Mhm.
has been passed on and passed on and passed on for generations. And that's what we do.
Mhm.
And so I had a patient, she was young. I think she had like 5 or 6 kids. And so her treatment regimen, she found out she had breast cancer. And they wanted her to do surgery and to do chemo, to try to help her, right? And she told me, I can't do that. And I said, well, why not? And she was like, because I have to work.
Hmm.
She was a manager, I think, at like McDonald's, and she said, "Because I have to feed my kids." And I said, "You do realize that if you do nothing, that you're not going to be able to feed your kids ever,
Right.
because you're not going to be here for them." And so that is the reality that a lot of us face,
Yeah.
that we face whether or not we go to the doctor or we feed our children.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, we're going to choose to feed our children.
Mm.
Just when I was diagnosed and just going through the system, like it would have been so easy for me to listen to that doctor.
Yeah.
I said it didn't feel like cancer, because where I was working, I went and I told my boss, I had to take time off because it's a process. You have to keep going back to the doctor.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to tell her my business because of HIPAA, but I just told her thinking maybe she'll be sympathetic or maybe empathetic and just cut me some slack. And she wasn't.
Mhm.
She demoted me, changed my hours,
Mhm.
because I needed to take time off to see about myself. And I told her what was going on, and she said, "Well, a friend of mine was just going through something similar, and it wasn't cancer, so it's probably not cancer. So you probably shouldn't worry yourself too much." And she was just so mean, and I was just thinking, like, if I didn't choose myself, and I was so afraid of I was going to lose my job, I
Mhm.
was going to be homeless, I wasn't
Mhm.
going to have food to eat, then I wouldn't be here today. Because I
Right.
literally could have been like, you know what, this is too much. Like, my boss is harassing me. She won't allow me the time to be off. And I could lose my job. So I can't go to the doctor. But
Mhm.
I chose to choose myself and to tell her, to hell with you and this job. Like,
Right. If that's how you're gonna treat somebody's life.
right. Like I have to find something else. But I mean, it wasn't easy. It was
No.
not. It was not easy. I wasn't working, didn't have any type of like supplemental income coming in or whatever. But, God provided. He
Mhm.
always does. And that's why I'm here.
Well, question on that, like the financial side again, like so the hospital that you were getting treatment at, did they initially give you any sort of like financial advice or organization that you could reach out to kind of help, knowing that you didn't have the funds for anything like that? Was there any sort of like guidance in that?
No, none.
No.
Just apply for they have like a Grady card is what they call it,
Mhm.
to be able to get treatment there. And then they did set me up with the Women's Health Medicaid. But other than that,
Yeah.
no. I don't know how I found this. It was some support group that I went
Mhm.
to. So, like, I'm not going to say they tricked me into coming, but
Mhm.
I reached out to them because they said that they could assist me financially.
Mhm.
But I had to go to this support group, and it was me and three older women. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say is yeah. It was just not what I was expecting. It
Yeah.
was a crying session. It was very dark, not upbeat.
Mhm.
Just I don't know. It just was not for me. It was
Yeah.
not for me. And that's how I end up getting hooked up with the Young Survivor Coalition.
Yes.
The chapter that they had in Atlanta, like we started it. And it started in this lady's name, Courtney, in her home. We started meeting there first, and then it just grew. But we talked about everything but cancer.
Mhm.
And I love that for me. I mean, everybody was young. We went out. We did stuff together. We talked about different things that affected young people, like
Mhm.
sexually, the changes that your body go through after taking chemo. And it was a safe space. And so I think it's very important as well to be able to meet people where they are and for people to have something to relate to.
Oh, 100%.
Because like, just I couldn't um relate
Mhm.
to someone that was 50 or 60 at
Yeah.
that time. We weren't dealing with the same things. And we were just at different points in our life. Like I'm
Mhm.
trying to see, how do you feel attractive after all of your hair have fell out? You know,
Mhm.
how do you feel attractive once, your boobs have been cut? You don't have
Mhm.
nipples on them, you know. My stomach has been cut.
Right.
Um, I don't know, gaining 50 pounds from chemo.
Mhm.
How do you maneuver those type of things? Like, when you don't want to talk about cancer
Mhm.
and people don't understand that. or if you are not sad because you've had cancer.
Mhm.
Even if, people, I've met people who were metastatic and the doctors have literally told them they have, months or days to live, but they're still optimistic because one
Mhm.
thing about it, when someone says but gives you hope. And so not taking that from them, not
Mhm.
saying, reality, statistically,
Mhm.
you won't be here, but allowing them to feel how they want to feel.
Yeah.
Because statistically speaking, I shouldn't be here.
Yep.
Literally, like I've been through 2 rapes and a home invasion. Like I've been raped at gunpoint twice.
Mm.
So, and I had a grade 3 tumor and it didn't spread. So I shouldn't be here,
Yeah.
but I'm here. So just allowing people to feel how they want to feel and
Mhm.
believe what they want to believe. And if they want to have hope, to allow them to have the hope, to not
Mhm.
be the bearer of bad news or to tell them what, medically speaking, what should happen, but allowing people that if they believe in a higher source, that's okay.
Mhm.
If they don't, that's on them to let
Mhm.
people just be. Because I was sharing with my family, I was like, I'm not sure if I get a second diagnosis, if I have a recurrence, what I would do. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to do chemo or
Mhm.
whatever treatment. I don't know. I
Right.
just don't know. And I said, I don't even know if I would tell you guys.
Mm.
And you have to be okay with that. And they were like, that's just so selfish. And I said, no, it's not. It's
Mm-mm.
my choice.
Yeah.
And so just having cancer, one thing that it has taught me is to listen to myself
Yeah.
and to choose me and not to do what I don't want to do
Right.
because life is short. And so that's just how I try to live. Like
Yeah.
if it's something that is really bothering me or that I don't want to do, then I 9 times out of 10, I'm
Mhm.
not going to do it. Or just learning to say no.
Mm, yeah.
Dr. Spencer, when I was diagnosed, she told me the day that I found out, she said, look, you look like a person that take care of everyone else.
Mm.
She said, now is your time to be selfish. Now is your time to choose you.
Yeah.
Have to choose you. She said, you're going to have a long road ahead of you. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy. She said, I don't know how it is going to happen exactly, but I know one thing, you're going to have to learn to say no. You look like
Mhm.
you say yes all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she was like, you're going to have to learn to say no and
Mm.
choose you. And so that is something that I just advocate to
Yeah.
everyone,
Yeah.
period. Choose yourself. That it's
Yeah.
okay to say no. Like, no is powerful, not just saying yes all the time or trying to please people,
Mhm.
but truly learning to be happy despite what is going through or just having joy no matter what. And so that's just how I am now. I'm not saying that I'm happy, but I have joy.
Yeah.
Joy is different from happiness. Happiness is
Mhm.
temporary, but joy is being able to know that you have $5 in your pocket and your bill is $100, but you're still okay.
Mhm.
And being able to go to sleep and sleep
Yeah.
peacefully and wake up
Yeah.
and truly not worry about things that you have no control over. And that is just how I live now. And I started a nonprofit for
Okay.
teenage girls who lost their mom, who's
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
yeah. So going through this journey after I was diagnosed and everything, later on I met some incredible women who have been a part of my life. One of the things when I met these women in my life, I found out, I had told you before when I was 10, I conditioned myself not to need or want anyone.
Mhm.
You can't get through life like that.
Oh, no.
So, God created Eve for Adam.
Mhm.
He needed a helpmate. You cannot go through life alone.
No.
So going through this, I realized that,
Mhm.
I can, I don't want to. I did, I don't want to ever again.
Mhm.
I am strong. I am. And I pretty much don't need anyone, but I
Mhm.
want someone. And so that's what I convey to my girls.
Yeah.
That, I know like losing your mom, that is hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. Even if people who are adopted that don't know who their birth mother is, it's
Yeah.
hard. If you've never had a relationship with your mother, it's
Mhm.
hard because you always want to try to fix things or want to, it's your mother. You
Mhm.
are connected from birth. You are in her womb. You born loving your mother. Your father has to earn your love. Your mother does
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
So I have just try to convey to them that you need someone.
Yeah.
You cannot get through this world alone. You want someone.
Mhm.
And so I had built up this, I'm good by myself,
Mhm.
but I wasn't. I needed
Yeah.
someone to tell me that it's okay, that you don't have to do it all by yourself, to
Mhm.
be able to ask for help. That is so hard for me. It is so hard for me still to this day.
Yeah.
Like I will struggle and struggle and struggle before I ask anyone to do anything for me. But I am telling them it's okay to ask for help.
Mhm.
That's why
Mhm.
people are here. If you need something, ask. No one can read your mind. Say what you mean and mean what you say. It's
Mhm.
okay. And
Yeah.
so that's one of the main reasons why I started the nonprofit.
That's so important.
Yeah.
I think as women that are strong-minded and strong-willed, we do have a tendency to want to do everything. We have we have that burden put on us anyway as women to do and lead and take care of all the things, but then we put it on ourselves as well because we are so strong and independent. But I mean, I used to be a youth group leader at my church, and I would tell the kids, I'm like, when you build walls to protect yourself, to keep everybody out, you think you're protecting yourself, but really you've just built a prison cell for yourself
Right.
and
Right.
you are imprisoned
Yes.
to, and that keeps all the God's blessings away from you.
It does. It
So
does.
it's a hard visual because I did it myself as a child and even as an adult. And that was one thing through cancer I had to learn how to accept love and accept God's
Right.
blessings and let people in. I struggle with that too. So I'm so glad to hear that you're pouring into those young girls
Right.
to be able to help them through processing that. I can't imagine losing a mother, what that would
And
be
just
like.
letting them know that they deserve love.
Yeah, they
They're
do.
worthy of love because for so long, just going through so much, just always expecting something bad to happen, not being able to celebrate the good times, just
Yeah.
always waiting for the ball to drop.
Yeah.
And so just telling them that that's not how you're supposed to live.
No.
That it's okay. That like I had thought that, with everything that was going on, like I deserve this. No, I
No,
don't.
you don't.
I didn't do anything.
No.
It just happened.
Yeah.
And it happened. And so I'm trying to use it to help someone else. And so that's why I tell them like you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be
Right.
loved. Like don't think that you don't deserve that. You do. You deserve
Mhm.
good things. And I have to
Mhm.
keep telling myself that. Like if I see that I'm settling or I'm not doing what I want to do or I'm allowing things to happen or allowing people to treat me a certain way, I have to check myself and say, look, you
Mhm.
don't deserve that. You deserve better.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that I instilled in
Well, you've got lots and lots and lots of wonderful words of encouragement and wisdom. And I love hearing so much that you've taken two terrible things that you've gone through and you've turned it for good. You're being an advocate for patients and helping them navigate because you didn't have that. And then now you're stepping in for these young girls and giving back to them because you didn't have that and you're helping them to not go through life alone. So many people go through such a traumatic experience and just shut down
Right.
and don't know how to talk about it or don't have a support group or don't have, family like you kind of didn't have those people there to help you through. So it's just beautiful and inspiring that you would take something so, that could have been tragic and really shut you down and it made you blossom into this beautiful person to be able to help and give back. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank
First of all, for all the patients that you've helped go through. I can only imagine how you've blessed others to be able to walk through that because you've done it at such a young age. So I'm just inspired by you on that. So, did you ever look back and think, Like what was your mantra? What was your scripture? What was your, theme song? Did you have anything that just really helped you fight going through it all alone?
So I say all the time that if it didn't rain, nothing would ever grow.
That's beautiful.
And so that's something that every
Mhm.
patient that I meet, I tell them that if it
Yeah.
didn't rain, nothing would ever grow. I know that you have to have rain.
Mhm.
And I know that it doesn't last always, that the sun comes out. I know that God did not promise us sunshine all the time, but with his rain, and the sunshine, then things blossom and things grow. And then my mother's favorite scripture was the 27th Psalm. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked,
Yeah.
even my enemies, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumble and fall. So, though a host would encamp around me, in this I will be confident. When my mother and my
Mhm.
father forsake me, then the Lord would take me up. So I remember that. And I just
Yeah.
remember, that no matter where I am or what I am going through, that I know what I believe in and I know who has kept me. And
Yeah.
I just stand on that and I stand by that. And
Mhm.
that what has gotten me through everything that I have been through.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's a song, that talks about Jesus' blood
Mhm.
and, that it reaches to the highest mountain. So I know that when I'm at my highest or people that are higher than me, that God reaches whoever where they are. And then it flows all the way down to the lowest valley,
Yeah.
that even when I'm at my lowest, when I can't speak, when I can't sing, when I can't wave my hands, when I
Mhm.
can't do anything, that his blood still reaches me, that he's
Yeah.
still there for me, no matter where I am. And that is going to continue to give me strength. And it gives me
Yeah.
strength from day to day. And then it says that it never loses power. So no matter what happens or where I am in life, I know that that same blood that reaches me when I'm at my highest,
Mhm.
it reaches me at my lowest, and it will never, ever, ever lose its power. So that's basically how I
Beautiful.
got through.
That's wonderful. Well, you've inspired me. I know that anybody listening to your story is going to be inspired as well. Is there a way to get in touch with you for your nonprofit in case there is someone listening that has a young girl that would benefit from your nonprofit?
Well, I have an Instagram. It's
Mhm.
FS Mahone, and then Mommy's Heart is the name of the nonprofit.
Oh, that's nice. And it's mostly just Atlanta region?
No, it doesn't have to be Atlanta.
Okay.
It can be anyone.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. So some of the things, I have gatherings for them and assist them with prom,
Mm,
Christmas, whatever they need.
yeah,
They just call me.
I love that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story. I know you've been through it, but you inspire me, and I know that you've given someone else out there some strength to know how to fight their own journey with some joy. All right. Well, thank you so much, and you guys stay tuned for another episode, and we'll see you next time.